Hi everyone, it's Gemma Sheree here again. Oh, I'm so annoyed with myself. I filmed this video and then I went to download it onto my, or upload it onto my PC, and then I thought it was uploaded, but it was still uploading, and I deleted it off my camera, so it didn't upload, and I don't know how to get it back. I don't think there is a way of getting it back. So I'll tell you all about this again. So, this is the second part of my collaboration with Paranormalauraa. Now, she's a girl from the UK, I want to say Yorkshire. I don't think it's... Is it Leeds? It might be Leeds, sorry. And we've been collaborating a little bit lately. You may have seen our last video, which was 5 haunted places. She did 5 haunted castles in the UK, and I did 5 haunted places in Australia because we don't actually have any castles. So today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be carrying on her Monday Mysteries series. And I've given her a Monday mystery to talk about, and she's given me a Monday mystery to talk about. And the reason that I'm all dressed like this is because I've just finished my burlesque makeup tutorial for my other channel. If you don't know, I also have another channel called GSL Makeup. So if you're interested in makeup, I'll put the link in the description box below and you can check that out if you want to. Anyway, so Paranormalauraa has given me a Monday mystery to talk about. The Monday mystery that she's given me to talk about is the case of Taman Shud. Now, this is a really interesting case that happened right here in Australia. It happened in 1948 in the city of Adelaide. So if you're not familiar with Australia, Adelaide is the capital city of South Australia. So basically what happened was, on the 30th of November 1948, a couple was walking along the beach. They saw a man sitting on the sand and he was leaning back against the beach wall, and they just figured that he was drunk, so they left him to it, and they thought that they saw him lift his arm to light a cigarette, so they didn't think anything was wrong. Now, the next morning the man went down to the beach to take a swim with some of his friends, and they saw that the man was still laying there on the sand, and upon closer inspection they noticed that he was in fact dead. So he ran off to a payphone and phoned the police. Now, this is what I actually have some information about this in this book, Great Australian Mysteries. So this is what happened next. A police ambulance took the man to the Royal Adelaide Hospital, where doctors opined that he had died, possibly of cardiac arrest, around 2 AM. He was transferred to the morgue. There is nothing unusual about deaths in public places, and the police assumed that someone would soon identify the corpse. On the cadaver itself, there were no scars or other identifying marks. So they took the body to the morgue and they kept it there for quite a few months. Nobody came to identify it, nobody positively identified it at all. They still didn't know who he was. Considering that he had Scandinavian features, they took a picture of him and they sent it around to newspapers all around the world. And still nothing came of it. A couple of weeks after they took him into the morgue, a mysterious suitcase was found at a railway station in Adelaide. So this is what happened next. The clothes inside the suitcase matched those of the dead man, and forensic investigation showed that some threads in type and colour matched threads in the coat on the mystery corpse. Even more excitingly, there were tags bearing the name T. Keen on 3 items of clothing. So at this point they published that information, and a captain of a ship came forward and said that he had had a member of his team, a sailor called Tommy Keane, that had gone missing. So he took a look at the body and it was not Tommy Keane. So in April 1949, 5 months after the body had been taken in, a forensic detective once again did a post-mortem on the body. Going through the clothing of the body, he found in a very, very minute pocket a tiny piece of paper rolled up very, very small, and when he unrolled it he saw that it contained the words Taman Shud, and he didn't know what the words meant. A local journalist for an Adelaide newspaper happened to speak Persian, and he came forward and said that the words Taman Shud actually mean the end, and that it had been written in a 12th century book of poems called the Rubaiyat. So police decided to have a look for a copy of this book, the Rubaiyat. It's a fairly obscure type of book, and they figured there couldn't probably be that many copies of the book in Adelaide. So after they released the information saying that they were looking for a copy of the Rubaiyat, a doctor came forward. Now this doctor lived in a suburb of Adelaide, and he said that the night before the corpse had been found, a copy of this book, the Rubaiyat, had been tossed into his car, and whoever had put it there had just left. He didn't really think anything of it, even though it was quite strange, and he certainly didn't put the pieces together that it had anything to do with this corpse on the beach. So he took it into the police, and the police found that the piece of paper containing the words Taman Shud fit perfectly within the last page of the book. Okay, so they found a strange alphabetical code containing letters and I think some numbers as well. On the volume's back cover, detectives found a series of faint pencil markings which, under magnification, proved to be a series of what seemed to be telephone numbers. They were followed by rows of capital letters forming some kind of coded message or cryptogram. They sent the book over to the military intelligence in Canberra, and they could not decipher this so-called code. So by this time, the corpse had been laying in the morgue for about 6-7 months now. In June of 1949, a taxidermist came and took a 3-dimensional plaster cast of the head, because he thought that perhaps if people could see the cast, it would help them to figure out who he was. It helped them to identify the corpse. This still did not work. It's also interesting to mention that after the post-mortem was done, it was found that his stomach was found to be hugely congested with blood, and his heart had failed. Symptoms like this are consistent with poisoning. However, when tests were carried out on the blood, no trace of poison could be found. This was interesting to the police because they thought perhaps he had been some sort of a spy, and now this, together with the code that was found at the end of the book, led them to believe that perhaps he had something to do with some sort of espionage. By this time nobody had identified the body, so they buried him in a grave that was marked with the words, "Here lies the unknown man who was found at Somerton Beach 1st of December 1948. Now finally, in June 1949, 3 days after the burial, the city coroner resumed his adjourned inquest into the death. Expert witnesses offered their testimonies for 3 days. At the end of the hearing, the coroner announced he was unable to say who the man was or how he had died. And that's the story of Taman Shud. If you have any requests for any Mystery Mondays, go ahead over to Paranormalaura's channel and just send her a message or an email, and I'm sure she'll probably do a video on it. So until next time, you guys, stay spooky. So, well, while the post-mortem sitting on anyway, marks containing an alphabetical, what looked like a code. Babe? My house is so weird, it makes noises.